Welcome to Reno Radio. I'm your host, Naomi Findlay, Australia's renovation royalty. My podcast is all about real advice for renovating, designing beautiful spaces, tradie advice, and my weather to wonderful passion, where we interview amazing rural property owners who are turning their spaces from weathered to wonderful with great design and great renos. Creating beautiful spaces doesn't have to be hard. In fact, it can be one of the most rewarding things you ever do. So, join me and my impressive list of guests each week for plenty of feel-good, inspiring, and real advice. This is Reno Radio.
Hello everyone and welcome to the show for the week. I have a delightful guest on the line with us today that's going to be talking to you about an amazing amount of diversity, renovations, farms and beautiful land. We have Louise from Highfield Farm and Woodland. Welcome, Louise.
Hi, how are you?
I'm very excited to have you on the show. I have this habit of whenever I'm interviewing someone for the show, I stalk their Insta at the same time. And I've just literally opened yours up. And it is very cool, some of the things I'm finding on here. I'm finding everything from art and local homewares, a whole world of animals. I think you on your mat on your veranda. I'm finding a whole world of things. So one of the things that when we were talking just a minute ago that absolutely intrigued me was when you said we ran away 7 years ago. Tell me a little bit about your running away.
We were both born in cities and have lived in cities all our lives. And we had always wanted to live in the country. And we figured that some people are born in the wrong place. We were born in the wrong place. We were born in a city. And we should have been born in the country. And so 7 years ago, we had the opportunity to take a leap of faith. Yes. And here we are.
And so you did that with your children?
Oh, we don't have any children.
Okay.
And we ran away ourselves.
Oh my gosh, that's romantic and exciting, Louise. That is very exciting. So tell me, where did you run away to exactly? I know it's down the southern side of the Snowy Mountains.
So we're near Adelong.
Okay.
Sort of between Gundagai and Adelong, on the western slopes of the Snowy Mountains. So by a gorgeous little creek in very beautiful hilly country.
Oh my gosh. And when you moved there, I know you said to me that the property that you moved into really needed a lot of love. So what sort of state was it in when you got to it?
Well, when we came to the house that was standing, it was a tiny square of a house with a veranda facing north. It was asbestos boards. Yes. It had no insulation whatsoever. It had the tiniest water tank. And because of the way the veranda was configured, the westerly sun just streamed into the veranda, so you couldn't sit on there and get any shade. And it was very, very narrow. Yeah. So the things that...
What were your thoughts when you first saw it? Was it love or was it, oh my gosh?
No, there was no love for the building. Well, no, that's not... There was no love for the building. The love was for the property.
Okay. So you fell in love with the land, not with the house at first.
Yeah, there were three good things about the house.
Okay, go for it.
Yeah. So there was, we really liked the bricks on the fireplace. Okay. They were particularly beautiful and actually local brick relatively local from Cootamundra. They were really beautiful. The big windows and the high ceiling.
Okay. They sound like three pretty good assets, though, because they're things that are hard to recreate. Amazing bricks, amazing windows, amazing high ceilings.
Yes.
What were the things that, when you looked at the house, apart from the asbestos boards, you were just like, I'm out. This is way too hard. Lucky the land's amazing.
Well, the previous owners had even paint bombed the house.
Paint bombed it.
Yeah.
What does that look like for you?
Oh, it just looks like kind of pretty mad graffiti on this, kind of asbestos board house. It was very ugly, but it was also just really hot because no one had put any effort into insulation. And so that was the first thing we did, was put insulation in so we felt comfortable.
Okay. And then how long did it take you to renovate it, and to what extent did you renovate that main home?
So the first thing we did was actually put a new kitchen in, just so that we could actually be cooking in it.
Yeah.
Then we worked with a local architect to make the existing house more livable and also put an extension on. So one of the things we did, we made very few changes to the original house because I don't like wasting the energy that's gone into building a former building.
That's interesting. Tell me more about your thoughts on that.
So, well, I figured it was ugly, but it was savable.
Okay.
And what we needed to do was make it more livable. And also we needed more space. So one of the livability factors was, of course, the insulation that I've already mentioned.
Yeah.
One of the ugliness factors was just getting rid of the asbestos boards on the outside. So we put Colorbond, like corrugated iron kind of stuff on the outside. So it just fits in with that sort of industrial, the sort of farm landscape stuff. The other thing we did was cut off the veranda, so we didn't have westerly sun pouring onto a veranda that we couldn't sit on.
Absolutely.
And then wrapped the veranda around the north, the east, and the south-facing side. So we've kind of got verandas on 3 sides now. And then we popped out an extension onto one side of the house. A relatively small extension, but it gave us a bigger bedroom and a study, and it meant that when we've got guests, we can actually be in a separate part of the house to the guests.
And so do you believe that this allowed you to maximise that beautiful energy of yesteryear as well as get you your functionality?
Yeah. I think adding the iron just gave it a little bit more authenticity in the landscape. Yeah. Picking up the colours from the trees in the landscape helped, in the colour bond, I think helped it blend in. Same with the internal wall colours, really. We went for things that were really harmonious to the outside colours, because with the big windows, it just feels like you're living in the same colours as the outside.
That must be an amazing feeling, and it's something that I talk about all the time with people in regard to bringing the outside in, bringing the inside out, and having that connection that, it is literally flawless and seamless. And it's really interesting about how you've mentioned that you used colours in your externals to blend the home with the landscape, and you use massive windows in your internals to blend the landscape with your inside. So that is quite an opportunity and quite a clever use of space medicine, because I'm assuming that when you're inside the house now, it must absolutely feel connected with the beautiful mountains around you.
Yeah, both in terms of view and in terms of colour. So it feels quite harmonious with the outside. Yeah.
That is very cool. Now, you did mention to me earlier, there's quite a few ways that you guys actually earn income off this property. I know that you said you have 333 hectares. Is that right?
Yeah.
Which to me, sitting in, regional New South Wales, feels massive. I know it's not huge on a farming scale, but that is a fair bite size of land.
Yeah.
And now, is all of it accessible, or?
All of the property is accessible, but one of the reasons we moved here was really the passion for the landscape and the environment. And the property came with an enduring conservation covenant on it.
Okay, what does that mean for people that don't know what that means?
Yeah. So it means that 2/3 of the property, i.e. 222 hectares, are protected for all time from any development. And this is because where we are, the property has critically endangered habitat on it, called Box Gum Grassy Woodland. And
you knew this when you bought it?
Well, it was kind of one of the reasons why we bought it.
Wow, that's cool.
And the conservation area is also bounded by a creek, so we have a really beautiful little creek running as our boundary in the conservation area. And we've, over the whole property, not just in the conservation area, we've seen 131 different bird species to date.
Wow, that is a massive amount.
It's pretty special. It's very special. Even when we speak to people, real birders, that they're pretty overwhelmed by the biodiversity that we have
That was
here.
obviously one of your passions to move there. It wasn't just about you moving to the country. It was about the conservation and about being able to keep so much of what is endangered safe.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Now, my next question is that you earn income off this property in quite a few different ways. You have various farming ventures, and you also mentioned to me that you are about to start a new venture. Can you tell me a little bit more about that one? Because that one is really exciting. Not only have you launched into and renovated the existing property there and extended it and harnessed space medicine and captured the energy of the people that bought it previously, but you're actually going to be using renovation and building and your amazing site for another venture.
Yeah. So when we moved here, there was a really dilapidated, rundown and totally collapsed old cattleman's hut on the property, made out of tin and timber, and it looked like a bit of an accretion. Is that a word? I don't know.
I
sort of
sure.
feel that,
I don't know. Google it for us.
I feel that it happened over time, quite organically, and it sat on a beautiful little ridge overlooking the creek and right on the boundary of our conservation area. But It was completely dilapidated, and really right from the first time we visited the property, before we even bought it, we knew we wanted to build a self-contained eco retreat there up on the ridge.
Amazing. So you're going to use materials from the existing dwelling?
We're going to use as many as we can. Unfortunately, when we first looked at when we looked at the materials from the hut, a lot of them are just so wrecked and ruined that it's not really possible to reuse a lot of the materials. But I guess we're kind of, again, borrowing from a colonial style, comfortable in the landscape tin and timber building in the design. And one thing that we have been able to do is not so much reuse material from the old build. Okay, so what we have been able to do, though, is mill some of the timber from the property to use in the hut.
And you've been milling that yourself, because I did see while I was stalking your Instagram, you do have an image of an absolutely gigantic fallen tree. Is that what you've been using to mill?
Yes. A guy who has a portable Lucas mill in the area has helped us with that. But we've used some fallen timber that's in good condition, so we didn't even have to take trees down. And then there's been other trees we've taken down because they've been in endangered positions. And we've milled that for the cathedral ceiling timber in the hut and also for the floorboards. and for kitchen benches and so on.
That's exciting. So is one of your aims going to be that as much as possible, all of the materials will come from the property?
Yes, as much as possible. And some of these things aren't entirely doable, just given fire ratings and so on. But wherever we can, to use the timber from the property, particularly in those more decorative features. So the place will actually feel like it will come from the property. But also to borrow ideas from the original completely dilapidated hut. It had beautiful pressed metal inside, and
wow.
It also had some beautiful patinaed mini orb. And
you've been able to salvage that?
Some of that we've been able to salvage, absolutely. And
amazing.
Where we haven't been able to salvage, we use it as inspiration.
That is exciting. And what's your hope for that? When are you hoping that it will be finished and you could start having people visit your amazing property?
Oh, I wish it was ready now. It's today the roof's going on, and possibly the cathedral ceiling's going up. But I really hate predicting when a builder's going to be over. I hate that. But I think early in the new year we'll certainly be able to have guests stay. And we really want, we call it our eco nest, because we really want people to feel like they're in a beautiful, comfortable nest, but right on the edge of the conservation area. And lots of the features about the build, we're aiming to be as environmentally responsible as we can.
It's very inspiring, Louise. And I love the use of the word nest. That is very cool. I actually have noticed also on your Instagram that you are obviously a really big supporter of local businesses and local suppliers, because you obviously are quite ingrained and a big part of the community up there. I can see cafes, I can see soaps, I can see events like the Winter Mountain Adventure. That, you know, you're not just up there farming, you're actually a really huge part of the community up there.
I hope so. We're also hermits.
But how's that going to go running an Airbnb?
No, that'll be fine. But I think it is really important. You know, I mean, there's a lot of really beautiful local businesses up here, and a lot of really gorgeous cafe owners and artists and people who are also passionate about the area, and it's a bit of a no-brainer to, you know, plug into them, because we've got shared ideas and passions, and you know, tourists don't come to one accommodation facility; they come to an area. And I think it's really important to connect with other people and to work with them to make the area a great destination for tourists.
So when your Airbnb is live, what will people be able to experience when they come to the nest?
So, and I guess for a start, it's an off-grid, offline experience. So if they just want a bit of downtime, we'll offer that. I think access to the conservation area and the bird diversity, and just a natural place where they're not going to run into 50 other people on the track. There's about 14 kilometres of bush tracks that people can explore.
Wow.
People will be able to also eat entirely from our property. So we raise our own lamb, beef, and chicken and eggs, and I have our own vegetable garden and fruit garden. So we'll be able to offer people seasonal eating from the property.
That's exciting.
Yeah. We're also working with the local Indigenous community to highlight some of the fantastic Indigenous heritage that's on the property. We had a cultural assessment done some time ago now, and there's some really fabulous things to share with guests, and we're hoping that we can develop up a tour with the local community for them to show our guests the incredible heritage that's here.
Well, to me, this sounds like a perfect example of, you know, you really evolved what you originally went there for. You know, it was for you escaping and you feeling like you were returning to where you and your partner belonged. And from that it's like the land and the home and the property has revealed renovation challenges, opportunities, and also kind of uncovered different experiences for you, and now ones that you want to share with others.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. I think sometimes people on the land can take for granted the amazing things that they have to offer, because when you're here, you see it every day, and you don't look at a flock of galahs with the wonder that they really are, all that twisting pink and grey, and you know, so I think sometimes we forget when we live here that other people would find complete and utter magic in being here for 3 or 4 days.
It is so true. It's that fresh eye, isn't it? And that, you know, often when you're so used to it, you see past the beauty and the uniqueness and the gentleness and the awe and the expanse and absolutely everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm excited. I am hoping that by the time this goes to air early in the new year, that I will be able to stalk your Instagram and find photos of your nearly completed Airbnb to share with everyone, because that would be exciting.
Thank you. That'd be fantastic. Thank you very much. I hope it's worthy.
Oh, my gosh, of course it would be. It's been so nice talking to you, Louise. And for anyone who is wanting to see more of your journey and the keen photography that I see on your Insta, where can they find you?
So we're at, our Instagram page is Highfield Farm and Woodland, all run together. So that's the Highfield Farm and Woodland. And we're on Facebook as well, but perhaps the best start is the Instagram page and a link off to our website as well.
Fantastic. And on your website, I did notice that there are campsites available. Even before you get your Airbnb up and running, people can still come and see the magic of the area by camping with you.
Absolutely. So our 2 campsites are registered with UCamp, and they're both by the creek. And even on a hot day, it's in this glorious shade and the opportunity to slip into the creek and have a paddle. And it's just beautifully quiet. Camping guests have also had squirrel gliders land on their tent.
Okay, cool. I was in before gliders landing on my tent. There was all a moment of, in the middle of the night, 4 children and gliders landing on the top of the tent. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we can't wait to see the progress of your newest structure.
Thank you so much, Naomi. Thank you.
You're welcome, Louise. Talk soon.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining me today, guys, on Reno Radio. It has been a blast. I would love it if you subscribed so you never missed a beat of this podcast. And naturally, let me know what you think. I love to hear everyone's feedback and reviews. If you'd like to know more about all the services and content that we produce at naomifindlay.com, then head on over to naomifindlay.com. You can also keep an eye on what I'm up to on my Instagram. You can find me there at Naomi Findlay Official. Until next time, team, enjoy.